what happens if your house is on fire? Has anybody had a dream about their house being on fire or something being on fire?
A house on fire can usually have two meanings, and it's often related to the section of scripture about the burning bush, where Moses experiences the presence of God. Because the fire can either burn and consume the thing it burns, and that's like the house is burning down, or we often talk about having a burning platform, where it means that you can see something is so bad you've got to do something about it. But if in the dream, if the house is burning but it's not being consumed, then that indicates the presence of God in that place, or that you're having an idea about the presence of God, and it could indicate a revival or like a spiritual fire having being present in that house, or that sense of identity.
So if it burns but it's not consumed, I remember doing a dream once where somebody's room, which is their sense of self, if they don't own the house, was on fire but not being consumed, and they could only see the fire through a camera, which is that prophetic sensing of a thing again. Often the cameras speak about a prophetic sense. Actually, I've noticed people who are prophetic usually take quite a lot of photos. They like to capture things on
images.
photos. So it was an interesting dream because it was speaking about the fire of God in that person's life, and they were seeing it prophetically through their camera. So yeah, it's very interesting. A fire is interesting, but what happens if it's a fire and it's consuming things?
Then that's often a sign that something's being destroyed, or it's talking about the destruction of a thing. And it could be a right destruction of a thing, like it could be God's destroying a thing because it needs to be destroyed. So if it's a dilapidated old house and it's burning, then it could be saying that there are a lot of old ideas that are no longer appropriate and God's busy getting rid of them.
Fire of God. And often the fire of God, I know people think that it could be a bad thing, but it really does destroy the things in our lives that shouldn't be there. So it's anything that's wood, hay and stubble gets burnt up, and anything that is gold and silver will remain. So sometimes those are actually good dreams,
but difficult, right?
Yeah, it's difficult. It is difficult going through a period where God's burning stuff up, because you have things that are important to you, but if they're not of him, then the fire is really important, so that he can move you on into other stuff. Often prophetic people have this kind of thing. There's always a renewing of stuff. And actually, very interestingly, in South Africa, when we have our fynbos fires, it's actually a really important process in actually reseeding and the regrowing of the fynbos, which is a very, very special kind of flora and fauna in South Africa. Well, it's flora, not fauna.
Yeah, flora.
You don't want to burn the animal. But yeah, so it'll reseed stuff in our life. So fire is really important.